Science is critical for explaining to the public how and why things work and may occur by testing and verifying results. This allows us to know how environments work, create advancements in medicine, and know what is good or not good for our bodies. It's responsible for telling and sharing the truth. However, the integrity of scientific research is at risk when they start withholding findings from the public, and unfortunately, this is occurring right now. This is known as publication bias. This phenomenon influences which findings get published, influencing public understanding while limiting the advancement of knowledge. But how deep does this issue run? Is it merely a preference for more significant and interesting results, or is there an agenda influencing these decisions? In an attempt to answer this question, we'll be examining the findings from a scientific paper. And if you'd like to see the results from this paper, go to bearsciences.com and become a member to gain access to this article where we summarize all the results from this scientific paper. And if you want to read the research for yourself, it's in our reference section at the bottom. And to gain access to this, become a member for $2.99 per month to access all our articles and other exclusive perks. But let's get back to determining the true extent of this issue. And to do that, we need to understand what publication bias is. Publication bias occurs when studies are selectively published based on their results. A particularly harmful form of this bias is tendency for significant results to be published more frequently than null results. These are results that show no significant effect. Let me give you an example. Imagine a study focused on schizophrenia patients and them conducting a behavioral exercise which showed that 20 out of 1,000 participants showed long-term improvements. This result might be dismissed as insignificant and go unpublished. However, this information, if published, could still be quite useful, as it could allow other researchers to assess what the study did right to help 20 patients and what it could do better to help the majority. This could lead them to adapt and improve the outcomes in another study design, thus potentially leading to an advancement in understanding the treatments of schizophrenia. And since the study still helped 20 people, it could also provide other schizophrenia patients, their doctors, and families an option that could potentially help them, even if it's unlikely. Thus, if these sort of results were published, it could allow for greater understanding and for doctors and patients to know their options and make an educated decision. However, since this study would most likely go unpublished in the real world, most people, and especially the public, wouldn't know about this, thus preventing all these benefits that we previously mentioned. So comment down below if you think what I've said is valid and if it's a real issue, or if you don't think it's that bad. However, this issue does span various disciplines, including biomedical and social sciences. A study analyzing 2 years of institutional review boards approved research found that most completed studies were never submitted for peer review or publication. This means that hundreds and even thousands of experiments, research, and results don't get the light of the day, and the public doesn't even know about them. This finding also suggests that researchers, rather than editors or institutions, may be primary drivers of publication bias, since they're not even submitting their papers to be peer-reviewed or published. This is quite concerning, given that scientists are expected to prioritize unbiased research over personal or professional perspectives. The scientific paper we are referencing assessed if there was publication bias in social sciences and what the cause was, and it looked at fields including communications, economics, political science, public health, psychology, sociology, and others. They analyzed 221 published and unpublished manuscripts from these fields, and the results showed that 80% of these studies had been written into reports, but only 48% were published in academic journals. Only 20% of the null results that were analyzed were published, around 60% of the studies with strong, significant results were published, and 50% of the studies with mixed results were published. Shockingly, this means that 65% of studies with null results or insignificant results were never written up, compared to only about 4.4% of studies with significant results being written up into reports. This suggests that many researchers abandon projects with null results before even attempting to publish. And if there's one thing worse than not publishing null results, it's not even writing and documenting them. Because even if a paper goes unpublished, at least it's written down. It might be harder for the public to find, but it's still there. It still can be found if you know the right people and institutions. However, failing to document null results has serious implications. For one, it could cause other researchers to unknowingly repeat studies with ineffective treatments, wasting time and funding. Thus, we're just trying the same wrong thing again and again. However, if it was actually even documented, it could allow researchers to maybe improve slightly on the so-called unsuccessful or insignificant results. It also limits scientific knowledge and distorts scientific literature. Let's say I did a scientific study that watching clouds makes people more happy and it showed a significant result and got published. However, let's say that there were various papers that showed that people looking at clouds has no effect at all, but they didn't even document it. It could mean, or it could make my results showing that clouds make people happy seem stronger because there's no other results showing that it has no effect, thus distorting literature and limiting our knowledge on the reality of things. So, with all these cons and many more on publication bias, why do scientists withhold their own results in the first place? Well, interestingly, once researchers wrote up their findings and submitted it for publication, there was no clear relationship between the strength of results, whether they were significant or null, and their publication status. This reinforces the idea that the primary barrier is not editorial institutions rejecting these results, whether they're significant or null, but rather the researchers' own decisions because they might not think it's worthy of publishing or even being worthy of being written up and documented. To better understand this, the study we're referencing contacted over 100 researchers who had null results but were never written. Among these 100, only 26 responded, but this is what they said. 15 researchers believed their null findings had no publication potential, despite them personally finding their results interesting. 9 deprioritized writing up their study in favor of other projects, and 2 abandoned their initial study design, but later published findings supporting their original hypothesis, meaning they probably just changed the study design to better suit their question or hypothesis. These responses reinforce that the issue is not just driven by fears of rejection, but also by personal and professional pressures and preferences. And this is a huge issue in limiting general knowledge. As we saw, 15 out of the 26 researchers actually found their null results interesting. However, no one, especially the public, is going to know about this because they were undocumented. They weren't even written up. And the fact that scientists can do this just due to their personal decisions is unjustifiable. Scientists are there to answer the questions with unbiased and provide all the information necessary so that people can make an educated decision and also so we can make advancements in knowledge and understanding on how our world works. So with such a major issue, is there a solution? Well, according to the paper we're referencing, to address this issue, the scientific community must implement changes that encourage transparency. Potential solutions include a pre-registry requiring studies to be pre-registered, which would prevent selective reporting, as well as incentivizing null findings. Potentially creating a high-status journal for null results purely could encourage researchers to report them. Another solution could be that grant providers could impose consequences for failing to publish or even documented funded studies, whether they're significant or null reports. And there's a couple other solutions the paper mentions, and if you want to see that, you can go to bearsciences.com and become a member to read our article and see them there, or you can go straight to the source by looking at the paper we're referencing by becoming a member and going to the bottom of the article. But publication bias is not just a flaw in scientific publishing. It is a fundamental issue that undermines the reliability of knowledge itself, whether driven by professional pressures, personal preferences, or systematic issues. The tendency to favor significant results over null findings distorts scientific progress. To ensure that research and information is fair and accurate, reforms must be implemented to encourage the publication of all findings, positive, negative, or inconclusive. Only by addressing these biases can we build a system that truly reflects the pursuit of knowledge and help restore scientific integrity. And that's exactly what Bear Science is doing. It is reporting on true science straight from the source and communicating it in an easy and quick manner so that anyone can understand it. If the truth is important to you, subscribe to the channel and go to bearsciences.com to subscribe for free to our newsletter to stay updated with a lot of our content. But if you actually want to be part of the change, become a member for $2.99 per month to join a community of like-minded people where we discuss these crucial issues and any scientific topic, because there are no silly questions at Bear Science. As a member, you will receive exclusive perks such as bonus videos and articles, members-only community page, and guarantee that your questions will be answered in one of our articles if you ask and we haven't already covered it. And that's only the start. So be part of the change and join the Bear Science community now.